Good afternoon, Periscope. Welcome to Saturday Scopes. This is the finale of our family series called the Family Circus. Hey! Today's topic is the Ringmaster, or running the show. So all this month we've been talking about family issues. We started out with families of origin. We talked about families of choice, blended families. So this week I promised to give you all some great tips and different things to help out with your family and running the show. First of all, I just want to say thank you for scoping with me. Whether you watch live, the replays, or catch it somewhere in the middle, I appreciate you taking your time out to scope with me and get involved in the conversation. So anywho, running the show. 3 very important things that children need, not just children, but especially children, families in general, are rules, stability, and discipline. These are things that children need to survive, and things that, not just survive, thrive. Things that children need to thrive, but things that make families, I'm not going to say easier, but help make things a little bit more smooth. When you have rules, especially when dealing with children, teenagers, whatever stage they're at, there's always rules. But being consistent in those rules, sticking to them, and enforcing them. When the children are younger, you have to repeat them a lot. Repetitive. Keep instilling it into them. When I worked summer camp, I had 5 and 6 year olds. And every time we left one area of the building to go to another, we lined up and we reviewed the rules for the hallway. So I was consistently reviewing the rules with them. My group was one of the best behaved out of the whole bunch that was there, because they knew the rules, because we constantly reinforced them, because I enforced them. They knew that if they weren't quiet in the hallways, if they weren't keeping their hands and feet to themselves and things like that, then there will be consequences. It will be, you don't get to participate in the game, you miss out on however many minutes of swimming time, whatever the consequences were for their actions. They were consistent with whatever rule they were breaking, and that's really important. You can't have a rule that's basic and then have a ridiculous punishment. The crime and punishment need to match up. Okay, so when you're dealing with rules and enforcing rules, make sure that they're evenly weighted and that they're consistent across the board, especially with age. Some things, of course, are going to be different because of age and what the child should know developmentally, mentally, those things, education-wise. But, for instance, when you get to things like keeping your room clean or whatever, whether they're 6 or 17, the rules, the punishment need to be consistent. The 6-year-old shouldn't get away with murder and not keeping their room clean, while the 17-year-old doesn't keep theirs clean and they get punished to the hilt. It should be the same. What goes into keeping their room clean may be different, but the punishment needs to be the same. Make sense? Okay, so number 2, which is probably more important than number 1, especially for kids, for family, is stability. Stability looks different for everybody, but the main thing is knowing that they are safe, that they have a place to come home to that feels like home, a place that's full of love, support, encouragement. Stability also comes in the terms of routines, familiarity, things like that. Like if a little kid knows every Tuesday my mommy's going to pick me up from school and we're going to Baskin Robbins after school if I stayed on green all day or if I did all my homework. That is part of building a sense of stability and consistency. If they know that every summer I'm going to grandma's house for a week, You know, kids need those routines. They need that flow to thrive. And when their routines and their stability is thrown off, it bleeds over into every other area of their life. You'll see their grades start to fall. You'll see their attitudes change. You'll see their habits and patterns emotionally and socially start to change. So when a child, not just child, but adults too, we don't realize it as much as we probably should, but we need that same sense of stability. Whether it's every morning when I get up, I need to drink a green smoothie, or I need 2 cups of coffee before I can function, or whatever your thing is that helps you stay consistent and feel like, okay, things are going smoothly. I'm in my flow. I'm in my zone. This is it. So a lot of times when that stability is taken away, is disturbed, is shaken up, it can cause issues in other areas. So if you're having problems with a child, with a teenager, whatever, check the stability. Check what's changed in the lifestyle, what's changed at home, what's out of the norm that may be affecting them and causing them to act out here, or causing this to change with them personally. Okay, and number 3 is discipline. That goes back with number 1, the rules. And I don't mean discipline just with being in trouble. I also mean discipline in things like studying, reading, eating well, exercising, all of those areas that require discipline, being well-mannered, being tidy. Discipline as in doing things that you're supposed to do without being told, doing those things because it's the right thing to do, all of that kind of stuff, as well as discipline when the rules are broken. As a social worker, let me say this about discipline. Now we have a completely different generation of viewpoints than when I was growing up with discipline. Now you can't spank your child, you can't do this, you can't do that. There's so many things and so many opinions and rules and voices about what you can and can't do discipline-wise. And I'm not one of those social workers that says, oh my God, if you spank your child, I'm going to report you. That's not what I do. That's not how I feel. I don't believe that there is anything wrong with spanking when necessary. But there is a difference in spanking and abuse. There is a difference in spanking for discipline and spanking in anger and cruelty. If you are going to spank your child, make sure that you do it in a way that is not detrimentally harmful. You shouldn't be spanking your child with boards and rods and all of those things. Hands, if they need it, a belt, but I'm not saying you beat them to the point of lashes and it needs to be age appropriate. I think spanking is the last resort when they haven't followed your rules, when they have ignored your verbal warnings, your physical warnings, when you've done timeout, when you've done whatever your chain of command with discipline is, when you've done all that and it's still not working, then it may be time for a spanking. And it's different for each individual child, because some kids you have to deal with differently. Some of them, you got to spank them coming out the gate. Other ones, you can just give them a look and they're going to line up. So it depends on the child as well as the parent. But if you know that you have a problem with being able to control your temper, your anger, if you get upset to the point that you want to physically harm your child, spanking is not the form of discipline for you. It's easy for people to be pushed to the point of violence and anger. It's easy for people to get all their buttons pushed. And sometimes kids are going to do things that make you want to snatch them up, shake them, whatever. But take a minute to pause before you act. A lot of times things happen that are unintentional and cause grave damage especially if you're dealing with infants, toddlers. Don't grab a baby, don't shake it. If you're angry, walk away. If you're frustrated, if the child is crying, hasn't stopped in 6 hours, whatever, walk away. Don't put your hands on that child. If it's get to the point where you feel overwhelmed and you can't handle it, call somebody else in to say, you know what, I'm at a bad place right now. I really need a break. I feel like if I don't have a break, I'm going to hurt myself or I'm going to do something to this baby or this child. It's okay. I would rather you do that than to put your hands on the child and harm them, ruin your future, and do detrimental harm that's irreparable. There's no harm in taking a parenting class. There's no harm in reaching out in a support group to learn about different forms of discipline, to learn about different things that are age appropriate for your child. There's great resources on the internet. A lot of community centers have resources, have classes, all those things available. So take advantage of what's available in your area. A lot of people, there's big arguments over the scripture that says spare the rod and spoil the child. That's an ongoing debate, especially in Christian households, with spanking, not spanking, all of those things. The gist of that is not so much about spanking. It's about refusing to discipline and correct your child, which is a huge problem that we see now. If you refuse to correct and discipline your child and instill those morals and values and sense of respect in them, then you spoil the child. And I don't mean spoiled as in they're a brat. I mean spoiled as in ruin them as a person. You make their life very difficult. You open the door for them to have a hard life because they don't know how to respect others. They don't know how to, they don't have that moral compass of right and wrong. I had an incident with my neighbors a couple weeks ago where they had visitors and it sounded like the ceiling was going to cave in. I called up there and I was like, is everything okay? What's going on? It sounds like the ceiling's going to cave in. You got a herd of buffalo running loose in the house. My neighbor says to me, oh, I have people at my house. There's a little boy here that's 3 years old. He doesn't know how to walk. He runs. He jumps. Are we disturbing you? I'm sorry. I was like, yeah, you are. I was trying to take a nap. It had been a long day. I was tired. But even more so, it was just extremely loud, continuous. It sounded literally like a team of tumblers was jumping, flipping, landing in the house. Bloom, 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 just repeatedly. So he was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We get off the phone. I'm expecting that the noise will quiet down. No, it continues. It gets even louder. It gets worse. I'm thinking to myself, okay, one, this child is in your house. If the parents aren't willing to speak up and say, little Bobby, you don't do that in someone else's house, sit down, stop jumping, stop running. You're in your house where you pay the rent, you pay the bills. You know that you have neighbors who live under you. First of all, you shouldn't let a 3-year-old be disrespectful to your home, your property, jumping, running all over the place like that anyway. Second, these are guests in your home. You have every right to speak up and say, you need to get your child under control. Little Bobby, sit down. Stop running. Sit down. Had it been me, I would have been in trouble. My mom didn't play that. When I was little, I knew better than to go to anybody's house and act like that. But it also says that if they're doing it in public at somebody else's house, they're doing it at home. Little kids will try you. They'll push the envelope. They'll try to push all your buttons, especially out in public. But if you are consistent in those rules and enforcing them and applying discipline, you won't have problems like that as much. I'm not going to say you won't have them, because people still act out. You know, you can be a great enforcer of rules, great disciplinarian, whatever, and the kids still wild out and act a fool. Okay, so those are basic foundations, basic things. Second thing I wanted to talk to you about as far as running the show and being the ringmaster is a positive note, celebrating accomplishments, achievements, all of those things. It's really easy, especially as adults, to get caught up in working and taking care of the house and paying bills and et cetera, whatever. But make sure you take the time to celebrate one another, to recognize birthdays, anniversaries, special occasions, holidays, achievements, accomplishments, not just big ones, but small ones too. I don't have kids, but my little cousins, my nieces, nephews, those are my babies. We always celebrate their accomplishments when they have great report cards, when they win awards, when they get opportunities to participate in honors chorus or a special board or whatever. Even if their behavior has been good all week, I celebrate those things with them because it gives them an incentive to keep going. It gives them an incentive to know that, hey, somebody is paying attention. It matters. You know, as a parent or a family member, loved one, supporter, whatever role you play, it's really important to be and feel celebrated and appreciated and loved. It goes a long, long way, especially for our young people in the classroom, in those hard subjects, in math and science and history, all of those things. Celebrate them. Put their work up on the refrigerator. Take it to school. Show your friends, do something special. Have a family reading where they come and read their story. Whatever it is, celebrate it. Make a big deal out of birthdays, out of anniversaries, out of, if you have adopted children, make a big deal out of the gotcha day. Celebrate, embrace those things, because a lot of times when you don't, you miss out. You miss out big time. You miss out on those smiles. You miss out on the laughs, good quality family time. Even if it's something as simple as, you know what, everybody had a long week, but we stuck in there and we made it through. We're going to go have a picnic in the park. Pack up your dinner, get a blanket, go to the park and eat outside. Get some little 59-cent helium balloons or, some confetti, whatever. Throw it up. Make a big deal out of it. Even if it's inexpensive, it makes a difference. Those are the things that kids remember. Those are the things that matter. It's not how many toys you buy, how many gifts. It's the little things. If you have kids, you can occupy them with a box, spoons, pots, paper, tape, cheap, inexpensive stuff that will keep them busy for hours. So it's not about how much you spend. It's not about all the latest electronics and toys and games. It's about getting in there and spending good quality time with them. When I was little, me and my mom did all kind of stuff together. I remember making crafts. We used to cook, make cookies, wash dishes, whatever it was. We did it together. Homework. We used to sit in the middle of the floor and play dolls. Before my mom got married, one of her boyfriends, he had daughters as well. He would play Barbies with me. He would make clothes for my Barbies. He used to comb my hair. He used to comb Barbie's hair with me. Everything. I remember those things because he was there spending quality time with me. Because my mom was there spending time with me. My grandma, my aunt, my dad, whatever. I remember so many times going places with my dad and my brothers. My dad always drove a pickup truck. We would pile up in the truck and we would go places, and he was ornery. He'd roll the windows up and poot and not let us roll them down and just crack up laughing. But I remember those things because we were together. That was free. There was no money involved, nothing being spent. We were together, hanging out, laughing, making memories. Okay, so that's my third thing. Make memories. Spend quality time together. Have a family game night. Do arts and crafts. If you're online, Pinterest is a blessing. Honey, it'll bless your life in so many ways. You can find recipes, activities, games, tips, tricks, all kinds of stuff. But jump in. Make memories. Do a family vacation. If you can't afford a vacation, do a staycation. Every city has free activities during the summer, free, cheap, whatever. Even if it's something that you've never tried or done before, something that's outside of your comfort zone, do it. Expose your kids to new stuff. Expose your family to new things. Get out and try new things. Go places you've never been. Go hiking. Go to a garden and walk and look at the flowers. Do a scavenger hunt. That's free. Most cities, if you go to their visitor center, they have a scavenger hunt that's been prepared that takes you to city landmarks and different places. That's free. You can go pick it up and you can drive, walk, whatever, depending on what city you're in. You can make one of your own that has important places and landmarks for your family. You can do one in the house. There's so many things you can do to spend that quality time with your family. We have to get back to the root, the small, important things that really matter, because it'll eliminate a lot of these problems that we're seeing right now with kids being in the streets and being murdered and getting involved in gangs and hanging with the wrong crowds. If you're spending that quality time with your family and your kids, they don't have time to get caught up in mess because they're with you, they're with their siblings, they're out learning and being enriched and poured into. They don't have time to be out in the street and get connected with the wrong crowd because they're looking for love and acceptance. They're getting it at home. If you don't have kids, or even if you do, adopt another kid that may not have a great family, that may not have people to love on them and pour into them. Be a big sister or a big brother. Get involved with somebody in your community. If you see a kid that's struggling, that doesn't have a support system, step out of the box and be that for somebody else. You never know what difference it could make. We gotta step outside of our selfishness and be there for somebody else sometimes. Okay? So those are just a few things to help you run the 3-ring circus that's going on in your house, to help you control the madness and fun and everything that's happening in your family. Next week, we start a new series on Saturday Scopes. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to come back and find out. Hopefully, you've been enjoying these scopes. You've been getting blessed and getting something from them. If you've missed any of them, they are up on YouTube. You can search for hashtag Saturday Scopes and it should take you to them. Or you can go to my YouTube channel at Shekinah Downs. They're all there. And fortunately, Periscope has started saving videos now. So if you need to come back and watch the replay from the beginning, you can. I don't know if the old ones are up, but you can catch up. Also, my first book is available for purchase. It's on Blurb. The link is up on my Facebook. I think I put it up on Twitter as well, so you can check that out. It's called Simple Sayings, Sprinkles of Encouragement. So it's kind of like a devotional, but not exactly. Some of the entries have scriptures, some of them don't. Some of them, thank you. Some of them are just words of wisdom, things to think about, but hopefully it'll encourage you either way. I got more stuff coming soon. I'm working on a new book called Until He Arrives. It's for my single folks, males and females, not just the ladies. It'll be coming next. So hopefully within the next couple of months, that one will be out and ready to go. There's also a workshop that goes along with that. So if you have a church, a ministry, a group, whatever, of singles that could use some encouragement, some help with what to do while they're waiting, let me know. Hit me up. I would love to come and talk to your singles. I have some other workshops coming up. So I'm working on stuff and getting everything updated to let you know what's going on, what's available. I've been blessed to be a part of the tour that Angie B presents here in Daytona. It's a traveling ministry tour. You can check them out on Facebook as well. That's the tour that Angie B presents. And what they do is they take ministry events to different neighborhoods, cities, communities, group homes, all kinds of different things, and present workshops, hip-hop gospel concerts, services. The next upcoming event is for June. June is Black Man Appreciation Month. So they're having a day in one of the local gardens just to appreciate and celebrate Black men and fathers. They have a group called Dads on Duty, Moms in Ministry. So both of those groups will be on hand to help out with the parents. We're doing school supplies. There's a family hoop day coming up. So they're going to have basketball tournaments and all those good things. So check it out. Even if you're not in Florida, we do travel. So you can book the tour that NGB presents. There's tons of great resources within the group. There's a marriage ministry. There's workshops. We can do a weekend, a whole week, whatever. Check it out and hit Miss Angie and the booking managers up. Come on down. Come on. There's tons and tons of stuff to do and going on. It's Memorial Day weekend, so if you have plans, be safe, be careful. To all of those who have served, who have made sacrifices, I salute you. I appreciate you. And if you don't already, check out my blog. I'm usually there writing and posting twice a week. It's cjaquise.blogspot.com. And I'm going to put that on the screen for you so you can see it. I think it's backwards, but that's it. It's cjaquis.blogspot.com. So you can check that out. And like I said, I'll be presenting more workshops and books and classes and all that good stuff to help encourage you, to help get you to your best you, and to impart and pour in some of the things that God has given me. And if you have things that you would like to add, if you want to be a part, jump in. If you have something you want to see me scope about or discuss, shoot me an email. shekinnahdowns@gmail.com. I'm usually available. Right now, ministry is my full-time job. So if you need to talk, if you need an ear, whatever, hit me up. I'm available. But have a great weekend. Thanks for scoping with me. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.